A pleasant Monday evening to you. Those were your headlines. Let's now take a look at those stories in detail. The final Randori Perahara of the Asala Perahara of the historic temple of the sacred tooth relic in Kandy and the Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya will take to the streets tonight.
This time, the Asala Perahara at the temple of the sacred tooth relic in Kandy had to be held without public participation due to the coronavirus pandemic situation. All arrangements have been made to begin the final Randoli Perahara at 7:14 p.m. tonight. The Perahara will proceed from the entrance of the temple of the sacred tooth relic to Dalada Vidya, from Dalada Vidya to Yatinuwara Vidya, from Yatinuwara Vidya to Kande Vidya, from Kande Vidya to DSN Anayaka Vidya and back to Raja Vidya and then to Dalada Maligava. Also, we decided to hold the procession without the participation of the general public. We greatly appreciate the support given by the people here. The water cutting ceremony will be held at the Gatabe Diyakapana Thota tomorrow morning.
කේන්ද්‍ර කරගනිමින් ගැටඹේ දියකපනා තොටේදී දියකැපීමේ මංගල්‍ය සිදුවීමට නියමිතයි.
Meanwhile, the final Perahara of the historic Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya will take to the streets tonight. This year's Perahara is being held in the phase of the prevailing coronavirus pandemic situation. The general public was allowed to watch the procession yesterday and today on instructions given by the President. Taska Vasana is to carry the relics of the procession today. The 14-day rituals will conclude with a water cutting ceremony tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, the annual Adivel Shaktivel festival organized by the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited ended today at the Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya. This event is organized to commemorate the traditional Padayatra which is being held concurrently with the Kataragama Asala Perahara. The Velayudaya, which was at the Selva Sannidhi sacred area in Point Pedro the day before yesterday, arrived at the headquarters of the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited in Colombo last morning. The Velayudaya was then placed at the Sella Kataragama shrine after being taken to Kalutara and Hambantota. The Adivel Shaktivel festival concluded this morning after the Velayudaya was taken to the Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya.
Today marks Nikini full moon poy day.
Devotees arriving at temples across the country engaged in prayer from early this morning. A large number of devotees arrived at the historic Jayashri Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura to engage in prayer. Devotees who visited the temple of the tooth relic in historic Kandy also engaged in prayer. This is how religious activities were conducted at the historic Galvihara in Polonnaruwa. Meanwhile, a special puja was held today at the Maliga Kanda Mahabodhi Agrashravaka Mahaviharaya in Maradana to pay respects to the Saryut Mugalan Agrashravaka relics. From today, special pujas for Arhat Sariputta and Mugalan are expected to be performed daily in the morning, noon and evening as well. This is not new to the Agrashravaka temple. These offerings have been going on for a long time. The Sri Sambuddha Puja was held at the Sri Shakya Malika in front of the headquarters of the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited today. The puja was organized by Toughline Private Limited, a subsidiary of the Capital Maharaja Organization Limited.
May good times dawn on this country. Especially, may the present coronavirus pandemic be eradicated and all those who want to live safely and peacefully in the country be blessed to do so.
සමාදානයෙන් යුතුව ජීවත් වෙන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන තුනුරුවන්ගේ ආශිර්වාදය මේ පුණ්‍ය ශක්තියින් තුලින් ජනිත වේවා.
It is on a day like today that the Buddha preached his first sermon in the town of Rajagaha with the support of King Ajasat. The enlightenment of Venerable Ananda Thero and the beginning of the construction of the Seruvila Stupa, which holds the Lord Buddha's Lalata relics, also began on a day like today. As per the principles of the Shasana, Samanira Theros who couldn't engage in Vas during the previous Poya are able to do so during the Nikini Poya.
Welcome back to the news. The 2020 general election is being held under special conditions. Accordingly, during a media briefing held today, Chairman of the NEC, Mahinda Priya, apprised the public of how polling centres and ballot boxes are being set up in keeping with the extraordinary conditions.
Apply sanitizer when entering the polling centre, remove your face mask and show your face to the V officer. Thereafter, another officer will spray sanitizer on you. When you are leaving the voting centre, the sanitizer will be sprayed again. If one does not carry a pen, we will provide them with a sanitized pen. Colouring the finger after voting will also be done safely. If one cannot hold his or her hand up, they can place the hand on a tissue. There will be absolutely no form of contact with each other. Polling booths have been created with white graph paper. Usually this poster is pasted on a ballot box. This time it will be printed. We will sanitize that as well.
Chairman of the NEC, Mahinda Priya, also elaborated on how ballot boxes would be transported and the counting process.
We will use red tape and tie these boxes and seal them. Then a padlock will also be placed. Thereafter, we will put the key into an envelope and seal it. Seals can be placed on the ballot boxes as well. Once voting has concluded, we will close this lid and seal that. Agents can place stickers over this.
දැන් ඡන්ද පත්‍රිකා දානවා ඡන්ද පෙට්ටි ඉවර වුණාට පස්සේ මෙන්න මේ කැලේ මෙහෙම වහනවා දැන් මේක අපි සීල් කරනවා ඒජන්ට්ලට අපි ආයි කියනවා මේකට උඩින් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ස්ටිකර් අලවන්න.
This is made out of carbonized paper. We will paste it over the padlock. One can neither open the box without ripping the paper nor can it be replaced. We will hand over this form to agents to enter the number of ballot papers inside a particular box. That number should be accurate as we will check on the day of counting.
බැලට් බොක්ස් එකේ බැලට් පේපර්ස් කීයක් තියෙනවද කියලා 6 වෙනිදා ගණන් කරනකොට මේ ගාන තමයි මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊට අමතරව ඡන්ද පත්‍රිකාවේ පිටිපස්සේ අපි ගහනවා සීල් එකක්.
Moreover, a seal will be placed over the back of the ballot paper. It cannot be swapped. The boxes will then be placed in these bags and tightened with a plastic tag. Each tag bears a unique code.
කපන්න නැතුව මේ පෙට්ටිය එළියට ගන්න බෑ. දැන් මෙන්න මේ විදියට තමයි බැලට් බොක්ස් එක තියෙන්නේ. දැන් කාටවත් කියන්න පුළුවන්ද?
The ballot box cannot be taken out without removing the tag. Can anyone say ballot boxes will be swapped? Those are blatant lies. They are trying to incite fear within the people. We have not allowed such misconduct to take place at any election held over the past 40 years. There have been times where people were threatened to vote, but now there is no room for that. If that happens, the votes will be made null and void. We have also advised police officials to make use of their weapons.
අපි පොලිස් නිලධාරීන්ට කියලා තියෙනවා මේ තුවක්කු දීලා තියෙන්නේ දත් මදින්න නෙවෙයි බුරුසු වලින් වගේ කියලා. ඡන්ද පෙට්ටි බාර ගන්න තැන.
2 representatives from one party will be allowed into a single counting centre. There are 112 counting rooms at Royal College. Those representatives can place stickers on these. The boxes which are sealed will be placed in these boxes and sealed. We will remove any curtains in the rooms these boxes are placed to ensure full transparency. Agents can place their seals on these boxes as well. Can anyone swap these boxes? No. Agents who will be staying overnight will be prohibited from carrying matchboxes, lighters, cigarettes, alcohol and other narcotics. The boxes will not be left in isolation. There is nothing to fear. There will be groups outside the rooms. No one else will be allowed. Officials do not have to worry. These screens will be placed in front of them. Face masks will be provided and if preferred, face shields can be worn as well. Voters will not contract it from officials and vice versa.
නිලධාරීන් බය වෙන දෙයක් නැහැ. නිලධාරීන්ගේ ඉස්සරහින් මේක තියෙනවා. ෆේස් මාස්ක් එක තියෙනවා. කැමති නම් ෆේස් ෂීල්ඩ් දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඡන්දේ දාන්න එන අය බය වෙන්න ඕනෙත් නැහැ. අපේ නිලධාරීන්ගෙන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට බෝ වෙනවා කියලා. අපෙන් ඒගොල්ලන්ටත් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් අපටත් නැහැ.
The National Election Commission has introduced a new mechanism that would facilitate visually impaired individuals to vote at the upcoming general election. A pilot project of this initiative is to be implemented in the Nuwara district during this year's election.
In Sri Lanka, visually impaired people have to be accompanied by another person while casting their vote. although the latest methods have been introduced overseas in this regard. The latest method that is to be implemented in the country is a result of constant requests made by the Sri Lanka Federation of the Visually Handicapped. This would allow visually impaired individuals to exercise their franchise while protecting the confidentiality of their vote. A trial run of this mechanism was carried out at the Nuwara Eliya District Secretariat yesterday.
We have introduced a transparent system. With the assistance of the chief of the polling station, the vote can be cast on the ballot paper in this manner. A visually impaired person can touch this and mark a cross. While casting preferential votes, they can count in numerically ascending order from the right side and mark a cross on the number of their preferred candidate.
At 10 polling stations in the Nuwara Eliya district, we have introduced special methods to allow the completely blind, partially blind and elderly people to cast their vote.
මේක ඇත්තටම හොඳ මේ හඳුන්වා දීමක්. ඇත්තටම දැන් මේ කතර ගාන්නේ කොහොමද කියලාවත් දැනගෙන හිටපො මම දැන් කතර මේ ගන්න පුළුවන් තනියම. මේ ක්‍රමය හරි සාර්ථකයි කියලා හිතනවා.
ඇත්තටම සතුටුයි. ඉතින් අපේ ඡන්දය අපිටම රහස්‍ය විදියට ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න ලැබීම ගැන සතුටුයි.
Dr. Deepika Udugama has tendered her resignation as the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka.
The official Twitter handle of the Sri Lanka Parliament announced the Constitutional Council noted that Dr. Deepika Udugama has tendered a resignation from the post as chairperson of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka. It adds that the Constitutional Council appreciated the role played by her in elevating the status of the commission. Dr. Deepika Udugama, the head of Department of the Law Faculty of the University of Peradeniya, was appointed as the chairperson of the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission in October 2015. Dr. Udugama was previously a member of the Human Rights Commission and Law Commission of Sri Lanka and has served on governing bodies of non-governmental human rights organizations and also on the United Nations human rights bodies, including the chair of the Board of Trustees as the UN Voluntary Fund for Technical Cooperation in the field of human rights.
Former Superintendent of the Negombo prison, Anuruddha Sampayo, was remanded until tomorrow after he was produced before the acting magistrate of Negombo, K.G. Gunadasa.
Former Superintendent of the Negombo prison, Anuruddha Sampayo, has been charged with illegally providing facilities to the cells of individuals arrested and detained for drug trafficking and related offences, obtaining property for this purpose, and fraudulently registering and misrepresenting the relevant accounts. Before this, 3 more prison officials were arrested for the same charges. Attorney at Law Kalum Kumarasinghe, appearing for Anuruddha Sampayo, said the Attorney General's Department making an appearance in court, especially for this case on a government holiday, is being done because of the influence of the Attorney General. He claimed that the Attorney General's Department is engaging in a media show and had resorted to actions that were never done before in the history of the Attorney General's Department with regards to this case. Attorney at Law representing Sampayo said Anuruddha Sampayo was not arrested, but he surrendered to the police, adding the surrender was the result of an influence exerted on his client from top positions not to cause any inconvenience to the government. However, dismissing these claims, Deputy Solicitor General Dileepa Piris, appearing for the Attorney General, said according to the records in his possession, Anuruddha Sampayo was arrested by a group led by the Negombo Police Headquarters. The Deputy Solicitor General had questioned as to why would the Negombo Police travel 72 kilometers to Kurunagala, which has 11 police stations. Deputy Solicitor General Dileepa Piris further pointed out, never before a person against whom a warrant was issued had made a statement to the media while inside a police jeep with a police inspector at the door. The Deputy Solicitor General also raised concerns with the restriction imposed on the media when the matter was called up today, adding journalists who are usually permitted to remain close to the court were inconvenienced when they were placed at a location which posed a risk to them. The acting magistrate's attention was also drawn towards the fact Anuruddha Sampayo was not wearing a face mask inside the court at a time when the quarantine regulations were in place. Defence Counsel requested the court to direct Anuruddha Sampayo to any prison other than the Negombo prison. However, the acting magistrate ordered that it is a decision that should be made by the Commissioner General of Prisons. The suspect is to be produced before the Negombo Magistrate Court again tomorrow.
3 lawyers of the government have come to the court on a public holiday. That cannot happen. Some cases that were sent to the Attorney General's Department are still unopened. What is this sudden enthusiasm? What is this private need? Few of his charges have been fraudulently registering and misrepresenting accounts, being a state official, but there is no evidence to prove it. He has not done it. If something of that nature has happened, the person guarding the cell must have done it. Some media institutions have reported that he was arrested. He was not arrested. He surrendered to court. We received some information asking us not to inconvenience the government. The investigative officers were able to locate him as a result of the strategic operation. He was arrested after that. We are still probing if he owns properties that were illegally acquired or illegally earned money, or whether he had invested that money elsewhere.
කියන කාරණය පිළිබඳව මේ වෙන විට විමර්ශනය කරනවා.
එතකොට බුද්ධි මෙහෙමක් වෙනවා නම් එතකොට පළාත් පාලන ආයතනයක ප්‍රධානීගේ සහෝදරයයි ප්‍රබල දේශපාලඥයෙක්ගේ ප්‍රබල ආධාරකරුවෙකුයි දෙන්නෙක් එක්ක වාහනයකින් ඇවිල්ලා වාහනයට මේ වාහනේ අනිත් වාහනයට පොලිස් රථයට මාරු කරා කියලා තමයි තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙන්නේ. මීගම පොලිස් ස්ථානාන්තරයේ ඉන්නකොටම අර වෙන වාහනයකින් ඇවිල්ලා ගෙනත් දානකොට ඒතකොට ඒ කට්ටිය වත්තරන් ගුලගත්තේ නැත්තේ.
ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී බුද්ධි නිලධාරීන් විසින් යම්
Intelligence officers used several tactics to locate his whereabouts. There were changes in his location. Once this information was clear, the intelligence officers had to deceive him to transport him to a different location.
පොළඹවා ගැනීම සඳහා මොහු යම් වෙනත් ස්ථානයකට එකයි යන්න.
මෙතන දොර අරගෙන ස්ථානාධිපතිවරු ඉස්සරහම කියනවා මේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට කියන අපි ඡන්දය දුන්නා අපිව බේරගන්න කියලා.
යම් කිසි ආකාරයක
As per the constitution, the president has the right to grant a presidential pardon to someone who is facing injustice. However, it is not applicable during an investigation.
විමර්ශන අවස්ථාවේදී අවස්ථාවක් නැහැ.
මීගම පොලිසියේ ස්ථානාධිපතිතුමා සහ මේ කතාබහට ලක් වෙන බන්ධනාගාර අධිකාරිවරයා පාසල් මිතුරා. එතකොට මේක සිටින් නැක් කියලා කවුරු හරි චෝදනා කරොත්
මම ඉස්සෙල්ලත් කිව්වා බුද්ධි මෙහෙයුමක් හරහා තමයි මේ කටයුත්ත සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කියලා. ඔබ කියන සම්බන්ධතාවයත් ඊට හේතු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
ප්‍රබල දේශපාලඥයෙක් මේ පිටිපස්සේ ඉන්නවා. ඒකකොට එයාටත් කතා කරලා උපක්‍රමයක් යොදුවද මේ කතා කරලා එන්න කියන්න මෙයාට මෙහෙමයි කියලා.
එහෙම දේශපාලඥයෙක් පිළිබඳ සම්බන්ධතාවයක් මේ වෙනකන් අනාවරණය වෙලා නැහැ.
The Negombo Magistrates Court issued a warrant for the arrest of 4 suspects, including Anuruddha Sampaio, on the 22nd. The Attorney General's Department convened a media briefing last Friday regarding the delay in arresting the suspect and condemned the conduct of the police.
If anyone is not adhering to it, be it the IGP or anyone else, we will summon them to courts and question them. They have to either capture Sampaio or explain why they cannot do it.
Meanwhile, when the suspect was brought to the Negombo police from Kurunagala yesterday, media personnel who were at the location were obstructed from carrying out their duties. Negombo Acting Magistrate Indika Silva recently ordered that the 3 jailers who had previously surrendered to the court be remanded until tomorrow. Chief Jailer of the Negombo prison Upali Sarath Bandara, 2nd tier jailer Nishanta Senaratna and jailer Prasad Kalinga Kaluagala were remanded.
Times of India confirmed today that underworld gang leader Chandana Pereira alias Angodolokka have died in India. The newspaper confirmed this based on a testimony from a woman who has had close ties with Angodolokka. According to revelations made by Indian print media, Angodolokka had hidden his citizenship and obtained an Aadhaar card in the name of Pradeep Singh.
Several Indian newspapers, including the Hindu, Times of India, the New Indian Express, made a startling revelation about Lasantha Chandana Pereira alias Angodolokka. The Coimbatore City Police arrested 1 male and 2 female suspects for the charges of producing fraudulent documents to assist Angodolokka to obtain an Aadhaar card in the name of Pradeep Singh and for cremating his remains. Coimbatore City Police have arrested Amani Thanji, who is 27 years old, a 36-year-old attorney-at-law Sivakami Sundari. S. Dhyaneswaran has been arrested under the charges of forging illegal documents. Indian newspapers reported that attorney-at-law Sivakami Sundari has been arrested in aiding in forging these illegal documents. According to revelations made by Indian print media, the 27-year-old Amani Thanji has gone to India from Sri Lanka this February and had lived with Angodolokka in Cheranmanagar, Coimbatore for some time. Times of India revealed this evening that Angodolokka has been supplying protein supplements to many gyms in Coimbatore city. The newspaper further revealed that attorney-at-law Sivakami Sundari has provided refuge for Angodolokka on Indian soil for 3 months. Thereafter, Angodalokka has rented a house in Coimbatore under the name of S. Dhyaneswaran to live with Amani Thanji. According to Times of India, investigations have revealed that Angodalokka has come to India in 2018. Amani Thanji had admitted Angodalokka to the Coimbatore Medical College Hospital due to a heart-related ailment. Indian media says that Angodalokka had been unconscious at the time and had died on the same day of a cardiac arrest. Thereafter, Amani Thanji and Sivakami Sundari had informed the hospital officials that the deceased is a relative of theirs and had taken his body out of the hospital to Madurai and had cremated his remains. However, they have informed the Tamil Nadu police that they will bury the remains. Indian print media cites that Sri Lanka police have contacted Tamil Nadu police following Indian media reports of Angodalokka's death. Thereafter, Coimbatore City Police have launched an investigation into this matter, and it has been revealed that the documents produced to release the body of Angodalokka from the hospital have been forged. Indian print media also raises concerns over the fact as to how Angodalokka's remains were transported from Coimbatore to Madurai, a distance of 216 kilometers, at a time where India was under lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Times of India confirmed this evening that Amani Thanji had affirmed that Angodalokka was in disguise using the fake identity of Pradeep Singh and denied the allegations of poisoning Angodalokka. Remains have been sent for examinations to confirm the cause of death. Meanwhile, these were the views expressed by police media spokesperson SSP Jaliya Senaratne in this regard.
Lasantha Pereira කියන ඔය සැකකරුවෝ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ යම් වරදවල් සඳහා අවශ්‍ය
Lasantha Pereira is a wanted suspect for several crimes in Sri Lanka. We have not received reports about the suspect's death or change of name. We have taken steps to work together with the Indian High Commission.
තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙලා නැහැ. ඉන්දියානු මහා කොමසාරිස් කාර්යාලයත් සමග ඒ අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කිරීම සඳහා පියවර අරගෙන තියෙනවා.
Meanwhile, the police inspected land forcefully taken over by Angodalokka. The land were located based on the statements given by Saman Kumar alias Sembu Samantha, a subordinate of Angodalokka who was arrested by the Mulleriava police recently. Police said the value of 929 purchase of land exceeds 500 million rupees.
මේ ඔක්කොම සර් වෙල්ලයක් දිගටම තියෙනවා. පර්චේස් 100 පර්චේස් එකක් කීයද මේ හරි? ලක්ෂ 6කට. ඔව්. ඒක ලක්ෂ 600ක්. මේවා ඔක්කොම මේ සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉඳලා ගුණුම් කරු කවුද කියලා ඔක්කොම හොයලා කට උත්තර අරගෙන දැන් කියන්නේ ගුණුම් කරු කියලා බොරු ඔක්කොම අදලා ගහලා ඇත්ත ගේම් එක. ඒක ඒ ඔක්කොම හොයලා ඉවරලා මෙයා සේරම රාජ්‍ය සම්පත කරන්න අවශ්‍ය කර ව්‍යාපාර කරනවා අපි. දැන් අද්දකම ගබුවා. මේක කපලා. මේක කපුවා. ඔය කපන්නේ ලොක්කමද ගබුවා නැත්නම් ඒ ගෝලියද?
දිනේ කාවස මොනවද?
අමුදලෝක ගිරෙව්ව මිසක් ඔයා මූ සම්බන්ධ ගලින් මාවේ නැහැ. වීඩියෝ කෝල් එකක් දාලා කතා කරලා අපරාධකාරයෝ වල කැපුවා. කොයි අවුරුද්ද කැපුවේ? මාස 8 වෙනි කලින් කැපුවේ. අත් දෙකම කපලා තියෙන්නේ. ලෙගින්ඩෝ කැපුවා. ලෙගින්ඩෝ කැපුවා. අමුසේ මේකේතර අවුරුද්ද වදින්තුනේ. අමුසේ කිඩපද්ද මේක. මේක අපි හෙට දැන් ගොඩක් කාලේ. ගලවනවා අපිට මාස් ගෙවට මට බලන්න මොන. කවුද අමුසේ එන්න කිව්වේ මෙතෙන්ට? අවුරුදු ගානට කලින් කවුද කියලා මෙතෙන් දැම්මේ? මේක අංගොඩලොක්කගේ අංගොඩලොක්ක තමයි අමුසේලා දාලා දෙන්නේ මෙතෙන්ට. හරි පරීක්ෂණ වලින් බලගමු. අතනට වෙන මෙයාව. මේකේතර ඔප්පු ඊටමේ ඔප්පු කාගෑමද තියෙන්නේ? ඉතිකාරිය තමයි ආවේ. කවුද ඉතිකාරියා? මේ හේමාල් කියන්නේ. මේ තමුගේ මේවාගේ බිරිඳ? ඔව්. හේමාල් ගාල්ලේ. එයාගේ නමට තියෙන්නේ? ඔව් එයාගේ නමට තිබුණේ. ඊට පස්සේ කාටද යන්න ලෑස්තිලා ඉන්නවා මේ වගේ. ඉරේ ඔක්කොම ඉඩම් ගන්නවා. සා අඟඩ ලොක්කත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධකම් පාත්‍රේ ඔක්කොම ගන්නවා. තේරුණාද? මෙයා අතනට ගන්නවා. අඟඩ ලොක්කගේ මිනිහෙක් මෙයා. මම තමයි. අතින්නම ගන්නවා. අඟඩ ලොක්කා කියන පුද්ගලයා උඩ විදාන් කරලත් නැහැ. දකුණු පළාත පුද්ගලයෙකුටයි.
The suspect named Angodalokka has not spent any money. He has transferred the land under a person in the southern province to another person. We will conduct investigations under the instructions of the IGP and find out the real owners of these lands and confiscate all these properties under the Money Laundering Act.
එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ වගේ සැබෑ හිමිකරුවන්ට නැවත ලබා දීමට ක්‍රියාමාර්ග.
Lasantha Chandana Pereira alias Angodalokka has also been accused of assassinating the underworld gang leader named Samyang and his group by attacking a Kalutara prison bus in Ethanamadala on the 27th of February 2017.
Well, that's all the news we have for you this evening. Before we go, a quick reminder that the Newsfirst team has been able to put together an exclusive documentary on the ever-dwindling leopard population in the country. That documentary will be aired soon after this bulletin. With Brian De Cruz, a sign language interpreter, I've been Chaturanga Hapuarachi. Thank you very much for watching.